NewsNation Now looking at your financial markets after the close on Wall Street. And that's a nice start to the week after kind of a up and down week last week to get 500 points back on the Dow, up 1.5%. S&P and NASDAQ also higher. Got a lot of data and a whole bunch of earnings to come as the week goes on. Now, the United Auto Workers strike against the big three, that could officially be over soon because the union announced and reached a tentative agreement with General Motors after making an initial deal with Stellantis Saturday and Ford last week. All three companies reportedly agreed to a 25% pay raise for assembly plant workers through the life of the contract, plus cost of living adjustments. They will also eliminate wage tiers for newer employees. Workers will get an 11% raise when they ratify these contracts, and that's when it will be official. President Biden was asked about the deal as he boarded Air Force One earlier. All right, I think it's great. The new contracts are said to last through August of 2028. And again, they still need to be approved by the 146,000 UAW members before the strike could officially be declared over. President back at the White House this afternoon signing an executive order that's aimed at regulating artificial intelligence. So I want to talk about that right now with J.C. Herz, who's the Senior Vice President of Exiger Software Supply Chain Solutions, co-author of the Pentagon's Open Technology Development Roadmap. So, J.C., thank you for joining us. We appreciate it. Let me go back to the president just to play a clip of what he said about this, and then we can talk about the issue. Again, President Biden, this is just a short time ago.
We face a genuine inflection point in history. One of those moments where the decisions we make in the very near term are going to set the course for the next decades. And with the position we lead the world in the toughest challenges and the greatest opportunities, look, there's no greater change that I can think of in my life than AI presents.
Well, that last part, I think a lot of people agree. There will be a lot of changes presented by AI. The government getting involved now, is it the right move? Will it be effective? What's your view on all of this?
Well, the thing to remember with AI, just like any other technology, it's a global ecosystem, right? It's a global market. And we can and should regulate any use of technology that might have, some really, really market-bending effects. But we're competing against people who haven't regulated it.
Right.
So that's the conversation we really need to be having, is the people who haven't regulated it are going to be releasing all kinds of, fictional and fabricated content into our social media. They're going to be using it to manipulate the market. They're going to be using it to do all kinds of cyber attacks. And nothing this policy deals with that. And that's where the real mayhem is coming. So this is a good start, perhaps, and we can argue about how this stuff gets implemented. The devil's in the details, right? There's a lot of devil in these details. Yeah,
they want to protect, that last bullet point makes it against biological and nuclear weapons being engineered with artificial intelligence, which obviously makes sense.
By U.S. citizens, right? So it doesn't actually protect anybody from that happening with non-U.S. citizens.
Which is exactly the point you're making.
Yeah.
But then it just raises an obvious question: is that, are we just supposed to, raise the white flag and give up, or are there other ways that we could be looking at this issue?
We're supposed to invest in counter biowarfare, counter cyber warfare, counter AI. We're thinking about defense, right? But how do you start playing offense? Because you can't just play blue in this game.
We probably do, don't we? I always assume, I shouldn't assume anything, but in cyber at least, you're right, we talk about the attacks that have happened rather than what we can do to respond to those attacks. But we've been told, the government doesn't talk about it, but we do have offensive capability in that regard. And do we in artificial intelligence as well, or no?
So ultimately, this is a bit like electronic warfare, right? Things are happening in a thousandth of a second.
Right.
There's no human that can fight something that's happening in a thousandth of a second. So we have to actually create our own, not only with the mind of we want it to do the right things for the right reasons, and we need to understand how its brain works, but we need it to actually counter the offensive AI that's coming at us. And that's where some of the biggest innovation and creativity and mission focus is going to come from.
A lot of I know we're talking right now about weapons and government and regulation, but a lot of the kind of connotation around AI, at least in the last, I don't know how long, year or so. And some of this I would attribute, by the way, to the public comments of people like Elon Musk has become negative, where people are afraid of it. You know, the robots are going to take over. That kind of talk has been the dominant type of talk that's been out there in kind of the public discourse. Are you saying that we should be changing that and looking more at the positives and looking at, you know, just generally speaking, not only with when it comes to national security?
Yeah, I mean, I think anyone with a brain in their head right now is justifiably concerned about what AI is going to do to the 2024 election.
Yes.
Right? You
Deep
would have to
fakes
be
and all the rest. Yeah.
completely crazy not to be concerned about that. And so the question is, how do we respond not only technically but culturally to the prospect of that? That asteroid is coming at us.
Right.
How are we going to respond to that as a culture and a nation?
I don't know that we know yet, and it might be, and we don't have a lot of time to come up with our answer is the hard part, because there's a campaign already underway. That's a larger conversation, so we'll have you back and talk about some of those issues, if that's okay. Thank you, JC.
You're welcome.
JC Herz on AI.
Thank you for watching. Go to newsnationnow.com to find News Nation on your television provider. And don't forget to click the red subscribe button below to get more of News Nation's fact-driven, unbiased coverage.